Yeah, we're live. Welcome back, guys. And as I said, we're going to try and make these a bit more consistent. Still not as consistent as I would have liked, but it is what it is. But we do have a lot of things to talk about. We have a few things to react to. And I really want to start with Lamine Yamal. There's also a video I want to react to of Lamine Yamal, and then I just want to go over and look at some of Lamine Yamal's numbers. But first, let's just make this reaction, because Lamine Yamal might have been the best thing that happened to football last year. Like the Euros, that would be. So the Euros may have been the best thing that happened to Lamine Yamal and to us, because it just gave us another superstar. It made Barcelona competitive. La Liga would have been very boring this season if Lamine Yamal wasn't playing as well as he's playing right now, and if Barcelona weren't able to be competitive. Football is not as fun when the top teams are not as competitive. Imagine if Real Madrid were really able to run away with things this season. None of us would be happy about it. So yeah, I'm glad Yamal is playing well, and Yamal, I'm glad Barca are doing well, because it just adds to the competitiveness of La Liga and the football. But I stand by that. Lamine Yamal, if not the best thing, then Yamal is definitely one of the best things that have happened to football last year. And I want to talk about Yamal. I don't want this thing to go. I don't want this thing to go overlooked. I don't want to overlook this thing. I don't want us to get to the end of the season, and for us to be like, oh yeah, that happened or this happened. I want us to stay on it all year. So yeah, as I said, we're gonna look at Yamal's numbers in a second. Let me try and get that up now. Hopefully you guys can see this as well. I might have to move the image a little bit, but we'll be okay. So yeah. Oh, we're gonna look at his numbers afterwards, after we do the little reaction, because I want to react to him first. But yeah, I stand by the fact of what I just said. Boom. Here's the video. I'll try and keep the audio off for obvious reasons, no copyright content, but we'll carry on. Haters will say Salah. Alright, gotta go back to training in a bit, bro. Oh, who's this guy? Yo, someone actually called themselves Lamine Yamal in the chat. Yeah, that's funny. Who is that? Who is this guy? Alright, that's funny, man. Anyways, let's get the Yamal video up. I'll take the music off. I don't even want to. I don't even want to try it. But yeah, let's get started. Does my thing want to work? Okay, let's see if my PC is gonna respond this time properly. There you go. So when I first reacted to Yamal last year, especially like at this time, I reacted to him and I said that this pass he does, this outside the boot pass he does right here, was going to be a problem, and it has been a problem, because we're in the season and Yamal has what, 13 assists. Yamal is double digits in assists, and we're only halfway through the season. And Yamal he's been injured for a long period of the season. Not a long period, but he's been injured throughout the season. But this guy is still on double digits on assists already. And I feel like that's where Yamal really shines. His creativity is what really allows him. His creativity is his bigger asset. Is his biggest asset to this Barcelona team. Lamine Yamal's creativity is the biggest asset to this Barcelona team. We saw it in the Euros as well. What Yamal and what's his name? Yamal and Nico Williams were able to do in the Euros was outstanding, and Yamal carried that same exact form to Barcelona. He did not skip a beat. And I just think is the La Masia school of thought, or La Masia school of football, however you wanna phrase it. I really think it's them. And you just all that I have said so far is kind of gets emphasized in this pass he gives to Rafinha right here. Look at how far away Rafinha is. He's gonna run between two defenders. He's still moving, but Yamal puts that ball perfectly on Rafinha's chest. perfect. And this is what I mean. For someone that's 17, is going to turn 18 this year, the way Yamal is able to create for other people is like, it's a skill. It's not like a goal like where it has to be so precise every time. It's not like being extremely fast. This is a skill that Yamal is going to carry over throughout his career. This creativity and his passing and his vision and his understanding of the game. I genuinely believe Yamal is going to be around for a long time. And I mean around for a long time because you, of course, have the example of Ansu Fati. You have the example of Anthony Martial. You have so many examples of young players that came up that we thought were going to be the next thing, but that never planned out. I think Yamal is the real deal. Some people are comparing Yamal to Messi. I think is a mistake. I don't think we should be comparing any players to Messi. You're setting the bar up too high. Like, you're setting the bar for that player to kind of fail, because it's very hard to be compared to Messi. But in that same breath, it's like, do I think Yamal's going to score 90 goals in a season? I don't know. I personally don't think I don't think he's shown us enough to say that he's going to score 90 goals in a season. But there's also a lot of other things that Yamal does extremely well that I think are going to allow him to continue to compete at the highest level for a long time. And that thing in particular is his creativity. And he still has some goals scored. He scored like 9-10 goals this season. Again, we're going to be looking at the numbers after this reaction, but he's just fantastic. That's the bottom line. And the biggest thing about him to me is that creativity that he comes up with, is the way he's able to set his teammates up, especially. Yamal is Yamal, though he is in his own. Yamal is Yamal, though he is his own player, in my opinion. Yeah. And that's the thing you always need to have in mind with these young players. It's like, you can't, like, you begin to put all these different, how do you say? You begin to put all these different connotations on them, and it never ends well. It's like, we're gonna judge Yamal by Yamal standards. We're gonna judge Yamal by the way Yamal plays. And this goal right here against France, oh my days! When I say Yamal carried the form over from the Euros, this is what I'm talking about. This goal against France. I've said this before. I reacted to Yamal last year, and I'll tell you, I wasn't too sure on Yamal. I saw a good player, but I did not see the superstar a lot of people were alluding to. This goal against France, I was like, okay, this guy's the real deal, because it's a moment where you are needed the most. This is what he did was extremely hard. He's being marked, and and that France defense was so good. His calmness and his clinicalness in this moment to put the ball top bins when Spain were losing 1-0, bro, I was sold right here. This is what I mean. Yamal has carried this form to Barcelona, because Yamal is being just as important and just as decisive for Barcelona as he was during his time for Spain in the Euros. He carried over this form. I love this goal. All the things Rabiot was saying before the game, for him to put the ball behind the net like that was definitely something that put a lot of people over the line on Yamal. Because some of this stuff, let's be honest, not the creative part, but the performances, the goals, getting the number 10 shirt, being compared to Messi, we've seen this in Ansu Fati. We've seen this with other Barcelona prospects, even whilst Messi was at Barcelona. How many players got called? Excuse me. How many players got called the next Lionel Messi whilst Messi was still at Barcelona? How many players got called the next Lionel Messi when Messi was winning Ballon d'Ors, still at Barcelona, in Barcelona? You know, that's why at first I wasn't completely sold on Lamine Yamal. And he still has a lot to do, you know. I still feel like he still has a lot he wants to accomplish in his career and etc. So I'm not trying to say that he's the finished product yet, but nonetheless, like, Yamal is different from these other prospects. One, because of his consistency. We've not seen Yamal with major injuries yet, so he's not really been sidelined for that long. So Yamal's just ticking boxes at this point. And another thing I want to say about this whole Yamal case, this whole Yamal come up is Xavi. We need to give Xavi his flowers. We need to give Xavi his props. I'm actually going to react to Xavi in the stream as well. We need to give Xavi his flowers because Xavi, like, he backed all of these young players. He backed Gavi, Pedri, Araujo, Lamine Yamal. He gave all of them minutes. Barca didn't really have an option because they were kind of broke. But nonetheless, he backed all of these players. He could have still played, what's his name, Fernando Torres and Rafinha over Yamal and all these other young players. You know, he could have still played Gundogan over Gavi or Pedri. But he trusted these young players and he allowed them to grow. And this is why you see now Yamal playing with so much confidence. He's only 17 and he's playing like he's been here forever. You need to give Xavi his flowers. Xavi deserves all the flowers he can get, man. Things didn't completely pan out with Xavi, but he built a La Liga winning side, and he built the foundation for Hansi Flick or anyone else really to have come at that time and prosper with the team. Not to take away anything from what Hansi Flick has done so far, because he has, in my opinion at least, he has been one of the best. Not in my opinion, sorry. Hansi Flick has been one of the best managers in the world this season. In my opinion, you can even say that he's arguably the best manager in the world this season. The only reason why I wouldn't give him that title 100% is because of what Arne Slot is doing with Liverpool. They look very, very strong. So there's another manager that also took over a successful team with a very famous and likable manager in Jurgen Klopp. That's the only reason why. But aside from that, Hansi Flick is another one that deserves his flowers. But I still stand by the fact that Xavi gave a lot of these players that platform to be able to perform like they are right now. Cutting edge passes, like the calmness, the vision, like the way he just waits it perfectly, never rushes things. Yamal was different, man. Never rushes things, always looks for the right play, always looks for the right time to put the ball behind the net. Like here, no rush whatsoever, and still gets the ball there. He beats the defender, but there's never a time here where you're looking at Yamal and he's trying to rush things. He's always in control. Always in control. It's like he always knows what he's doing and he's gonna get to his spot all the time. Oh, amazing. Amazing. Oh yeah, and part of the criticism that I had for Yamal last season, and that he's really worked on this season, and he's really improved on, is the finishing. Because again, last year a lot of people were talking about Yamal this, Yamal that. I'm talking about this time last year. This was before the Euros. I said, yeah, Yamal's a good player, fantastic player, amazing prospect, but I'm not really seeing the play you guys are seeing, because at the end of the day, footballers, the game of football, for you to win, you have to outscore the other team. And I'm looking at this Yamal kid. I'm like, he's not scoring enough. Like, yes, he's gonna get an assist here and there, but he's not scoring enough. But Yamal took that to a new level since the Euros. As I said, he carried on that form. And even when he isn't scoring, as I said, he scored 9 goals this season. But the level of production on his assists, 13 assists, and it's not just the assists, it's the way he's able to create time and time again. We're going to go over to the numbers in a second. But yeah, Yamal has definitely taken his production to another level this season. I agree, Xavi definitely had a part of the foundation with Flick. Won La Liga, although it probably was a weaker Madrid season that made it possible. But that's the thing about football, isn't it? You just have to take your chances, because if the opposite happened, and they did, if Madrid had a weaker season and Barca didn't win, everyone would be looking at Barcelona with like, oh, Real Madrid weren't as strong this season and you still couldn't win. So it's like, you just need to take your chances as they come. Gonna be reacting to a few more things now. There's also, how do you call it? Zubimendi to Arsenal. Let's see if that's in any of the trending pages on Twitter, because that's definitely something that we need to talk about. Zubimendi to Arsenal, if it's gonna happen, etc. What happened to Lenny Euro? These guys just love the glazed Lenny. I still think Lenny Euro kind of made a mistake coming to United. I'm not going to complain about Lenny Euro coming to United, because I do like him. And I feel like he's going to be a big thing in the future, but I still think he should have went to Real Madrid. He should have just waited another year at Lille and then gone to Real Madrid. But at the same time, Lille had to sell, so it wasn't really up to him anyways. Was he at Lille? Was it Lille he was playing for? I think it was Lille. Anyways, I still think he should have stayed there for another season. I feel like he should have gone to Real Madrid. I think that's, if I'm being completely honest, that would have been the best thing to have happened to his career. And as a United fan, it's very sad that I'm saying this, because we should be able to we should at least be able to compete for talent against a club like Real Madrid. At least that, even if we're not able to compete for Champions Leagues and etc., we should at least be able to compete with them in terms of talent. But not even that we can do. Lenny Euro just came to us because we offered a little more money. Yeah, but as I was saying, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll try and move this to the other side. Oh no. The Lamine Yamal reaction isn't going to happen. There you go. Okay, I made a small mistake in the editing part of things, but it happens sometimes. Yeah, but as I was saying, so if you guys can see the screen right now, I don't know if you can. I don't know how much I can zoom this in. 110, 120, 150. You guys see that? Boom. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully it's not too bad to read. But yeah, so we're looking at Lamine Yamal's numbers. As I was saying before, he's creative-wise, if you look at his per 90 numbers, he's averaging 0.4 assists per 90, and that ranks him in the 97th percentile. I believe is this in La Liga or nah? This is against. Yeah, so okay, yeah. So this is against the top 5 leagues in Europe. So Lamine Yamal at the minute per 90, he's averaging 0.4 assists per 90, and this 0.4 assists per 90 that he's averaging puts him in the 97th percentile in players in Europe's top 5 leagues. This is what I'm talking about, Lamine Yamal being elite this season and his creativity going to another level. Ranking in the 97th percentile amongst the top 5 players in Europe. Lamine Yamal is not even 18 yet. Oh my days. There's still things that he needs to improve on. So for example, His non-penalty XG, as I said, is still very weak. I made a recording for a video this morning where I was talking about the MSN, and how Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Yamal compared to the MSN. And something that clearly comes out is that Lewandowski and Rafinha both already have 20 goals this season, and Lamine Yamal is not quite up there yet. Now, Yamal has also played less games, so I'm not really going to try and hold that against him. In terms of goal contributions, I believe Yamal has like 22 goal contributions this season, combined goals and assists, so that's still elite. Those are still elite numbers. But if they want to get up to that upper echelons, if they really want to make sure that they can win the Champions League, I still believe that Yamal needs to put up his productivity in terms of goals. And as we can see here, his non-penalty XG at 0.2 and non-penalty goals overall at 0.27 as well. Like, compared to his assists, creative wise, when it comes to assists, Yamal is easily like a top five player in Europe. However, when it comes to scoring goals, again, he's not even 18 yet. He's only 17. He has time to improve this. But as we can see, if we're gonna be critical, at least that's definitely the thing Yamal needs to improve on the most. But again, when you're sharing the pitch with a guy like Lewandowski, who's gonna take most of those goal opportunities, and when Rafinha on the other side is taking all those like second chances, of course Yamal is going to struggle a little bit more. But again, nothing to worry too much about, because Yamal can definitely improve on that. Another thing that really impresses me about Yamal is his, as we all know, Yamal on a 1-on-1 is one of the most dangerous players. We saw this in the Euros, how we saw what him and Nico Williams were able to do on either side of that Spain attack, and this has carried over to the season. So per 90, Lamine Yamal is averaging 3.2 successful take-ons. 3.2 successful take-ons per 90, and that ranks him in the 94th percentile. As I said, those are his biggest attributes. When you watch him play, it makes sense, because I'll say that that's Yamal's biggest attribute, is his ability to take players on, excellent dribbler, and his creativity when it comes to dishing out assists. So again, those are his two biggest numbers, up there as well with his progressive passes. From the reaction that we just watched about Lamine Yamal, it makes sense. It makes sense. That's what she said. It makes sense that his progressive passes are going to be. Oh, Jesus! Oh my God! Actually, doesn't make. I mean, it makes sense, but it's still very impressive. I don't want to overlook this. This kid is averaging 13 progressive passes per 90. Lamine Yamal is averaging 13 progressive passes per 90. This is what I mean. We're talking about Lamine Yamal's, his scoring ability does need work. We know that. Lamine Yamal's scoring ability is not up there yet. I don't care what you say to me. Great player, but he does need to improve his scoring. However, the assists, the amount of assists he's dishing out, elite. His ability on a 1-on-1, elite. His progressive passes, elite. And when I say elite, I mean one of the very best in the world. And the numbers back it up. 97th percentile, 94th percentile, and 98th percentile. Like, we just watched a video on Lamine Yamal. We just made that reaction, and the numbers back it up. And it just like, we can talk about this all day, but the numbers have to back it up. And Yamal is also not slacking when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, because he's averaging 1.9 tackles per 90. 1.96, almost 2 tackles per 90. The one thing Yamal really needs to work on is his scoring ability. I'm not going to look at his clearances and blocks or aerials won. That's not where he earns his money. You know, his pass completion is a bit poor, but he's averaging 13 progressive passes per 90, he is going to miss some of them. The main thing Yamal needs to work on is his scoring ability in front of goal. It's how clinical he is, because aside from that, everything else, when it comes to his defensive, how do you say? What's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to Yamal's defensive contributions, he's elite. Progressive passes, he's very elite. Successful take-ons and assists, he's also very elite. Like, Lamine Yamal, even though he doesn't score as much as Rafinha and Lewandowski, he is carrying his weight for this team. Yamal is seriously carrying his weight for Barcelona. And the numbers, as I said, we watched the videos, we watched the video on Lamine Yamal's highlights, we're looking at the numbers, it all just backs it up. It all just helps to back it up. Anyways, we've got other things to talk about. Next thing is Zubimendi. I don't know what the word is with Zubimendi. I don't know if it's official or what's going on. Let me try and look on thingy right now. Oh, this tweet is interesting. This tweet is very... I don't know if you guys can see this properly. Hopefully you can. Let me try and make sure. Okay, yeah, this tweet is very interesting. So, City signing 4 players in January. Arsenal signing Zubimendi in the summer and in talks with Sesko. Liverpool, 0 signings and 0 new contracts for Trent, Virgil van Dijk and Salah. And I feel like this is a problem. This is a problem or a concern that Liverpool fans should have. In a sense, like, no one's going to take away the fact that Liverpool have been absolutely amazing this season and Sloth done his thing. No one's going to take that away from them. But I look at the example of Napoli, who done very well in 2022. They won the league, but then they lost their best players. Liverpool is another club who, even their success this season is coming to a surprise to some Liverpool fans because of how bad they've been in previous transfer windows. Liverpool need to keep this up. Liverpool need to keep this up. Because a team as good as Liverpool, as successful as Liverpool, they need to make sure they keep it up. What about Man U? What about Man United? Is it Du Bois? François? I don't want to say your name wrong, bro. But what do you mean? What about United? What should United do? Our club's in the mud. Signing new players, getting a new manager. That's not gonna help. Liverpool. This is what I'm saying. No one's gonna take the fact that Liverpool have been amazing this season. They're probably gonna win the league. They're gonna go far in the Champions League. No one's taking that away from them. However, as we just saw, the contract negotiations for Virgil van Dijk, for Trent, for Salah, for example, if Liverpool lose Trent, let me just go back to this tweet real quick. For example, if Liverpool lose Trent and Salah this summer transfer window, which is very likely to happen because neither one of them have signed new contracts and both of them are talking about leaving, Trent and Salah. If they lose Trent and Salah, they're losing their right hand side. And if they win the league, if Liverpool win the league, which is very likely to happen, I believe most Premier League fans would say the same thing, that Liverpool are going to win the league. If they win the league, but they lose Salah and Trent, then you're losing your Premier League winning right hand side. You need to do something to make sure that you either don't lose them or you're able to replace them with the best talent out there. And that's why I think this is a good post. You need to make sure that as soon as possible, you're able to replace them. Okay, maybe Garnacho and Rashford will leave this month, but there is no news about arrivals. And this is what I'm saying. United, if we're talking... Like, I've just, like, in a sense, gave Liverpool a quick warning. But if we're talking about United, United's case is much worse. And this is why, as a United fan, I don't really want to talk about United. I'd rather talk about successful teams and how they can carry on being successful than talk about the mess that is United. And the comment says, Garnacho and Rashford are possibly going to leave this summer, but there's no new arrivals. And that's a fact. Like, they may both leave, and there's no talks of us signing a new left winger or replacing the left-hand side. There's Nico Williams out there, but if Nico Williams is half smart, he won't come to United. So it's like, this is what I mean. Like, United are just a mess. I don't even want to talk about them right now. I don't even want to talk about United right now. Is it 4x2? What are you saying, bro? What are you saying? So has Zubimendi signed, or are they only going to sign him in the summer? That's a bit silly. Okay, so it looks like they're going to be signing Zubimendi in the summer. But anyways, we're gonna make a quick video on Zubimendi. First, I want to know what's going on with Zubimendi though. I feel like that's not crazy to want to know what's going on with Zubimendi. Let's try and search this up. Let's try and find out what's going on with Zubimendi. Then we're gonna come back and react to this video. Then we're gonna go over and look at Zubimendi's numbers as well, like we did for Kvaratskhelia. But I want to know exactly what are the details of the signing. Okay, this is it.
With the deal virtually completed to beat Liverpool and Manchester City for the summer transfer.
Let's try again.
Arsenal are set to sign £51 million Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, with the deal virtually completed to beat Liverpool and Manchester City for the summer transfer.
Okay.
The Real Sociedad star has been courted by Mikel Arteta for over 12 months, and talks over a summer move are now at an advanced stage, with sources indicating the deal is virtually completed.
Okay, so it's not happened yet. And to be honest, when I first watched Zubimendi play against United in the Europa League, I wasn't completely sold. But then after watching him in the Euros, and especially this season for Real Sociedad, that guy's going to be a good signing for Arsenal. That's the bottom line. The bottom line is, I genuinely believe Zubimendi is going to be a good signing for Arsenal. Again, I don't know how accurate this information is. I've not really seen anything. I'm scared to react to Fabrizio Romano because I might get like a copyright strike or something like that. But anyways, so yeah, we're gonna watch this video on Zubimendi. Enough talking. Let's get started. Let's react. Let's react.
Collaborate with other.
So yeah, 181. He looks a lot shorter. So 181. That's about 5'11". Zubimendi looks a lot shorter. 5'11" is not bad for him. I thought he would be like 5'8", 5'9". He's about 5'11". That's not bad. I'm saying this because they're losing Partey, who's a massive physical presence. Pause. He's a big presence in their midfield. They're gonna need still that physical aspect that they're losing with Partey on that team, and Zubimendi being 5'11" definitely helps. Now, I'm not saying that him being taller automatically makes him a better player. The greatest player of all time is of average to small stature. That's not the point at all. But if we're talking about a team like Arsenal that needs to be competitive in the middle of the pitch, and who had Partey, who's been for the most part a success for them, aside from not winning anything and aside from the accusations and the few injuries he's had, when Partey's played, most of the time it's been a good thing, and they're losing that player. Getting Zubimendi in is not a bad shout. Anyways, I'm waffling. Let's carry on. I'm waffling right now. That's besides the point. Strengths: passing, technique, teamwork, stamina, and composure. Yeah, I'd say tempo. I would add in tempo. Zubimendi is able to dictate tempo very well. If you want to take just one game, then just go look at the finals against England. When they took off Rodri in the final for Zubimendi, I thought the manager was going crazy, but it was a very smart move because Zubimendi is able to control the tempo of a game so well. He does that extremely well. So that would be another strength I would add in for Zubimendi, is his ability to dictate tempo during a game. Let's carry on. Let's kind of skip these. I don't really care. We're gonna determine these stats, and then we always have FBRF to go back to. But here we go, Zubimendi. This pass is crazy. Yo, off the dome. That pass is crazy. One, the fact that the pass completely shreds their midfield and defense open, and it goes exactly to where the player needs to go. This is an excellent pass. It just breaks their midfield line, breaks their defensive line. The ball just goes straight to the player, exactly where it needs to be. That's an excellent pass. Zubimendi, like, I love watching high class, high technique players or high technique CDMs who control the tempo of the game. Those are my favorite players to watch. So players like Carrick, players like Sergio Busquets, a player like Xabi Alonso, Pirlo, those are my favorite players to watch, man. Xavi, players that almost by themselves are able to dictate how the team is going to play. I feel like Modric during the 2021 final against Liverpool, or was it 2020? I think it was 2022 final against Liverpool. That's something people don't give Modric a lot of credit for. But in that final, yes, Courtois was amazing. Carvajal shut down Luis Diaz. Vini scored the goal. Valverde got the assist. But Modric controlled that midfield so well. It allowed Real Madrid to soak up that pressure from Liverpool and still be competitive. When I see a player like Zubimendi, I see a lot of those similar traits. I'm not saying he's going to go out and win a Ballon d'Or like Luka Modric. Not even close to that. But I'm saying his ability to control the tempo of a game is going to be very, very good for Arsenal. On the ball, already off the dome, Zubimendi is an upgrade on Partey. Now, we're going to see how much is going to impact Arsenal losing that physical presence that Partey adds to the team. But in terms of ball playing ability, no one is, or Arsenal aren't losing any quality with swapping for Zubimendi. That is excellent player. His long range passing, his short game passing, his ability to turn on a dime. Very good player. Pardon me. And again, by the end of this video, we're going to be going back and looking at his numbers on FBRF, because I really like looking at a player and the highlights and then looking at the numbers. I feel like if it isn't a player that you're familiar with watching game on game, that's very important. So yeah, we'll definitely be doing that, just to really understand what are his strengths and what are his weaknesses. My top 5 CMs of all time in order are Xavi, Modric, Iniesta, Zidane, and Pirlo. That's a very good list. I would have still those 4. My 5th, I don't know. I don't know who I would have as my 5th. Probably Busquets. I'll probably have Busquets over Pirlo. But yeah, no one's gonna say anything bad about having Pirlo on that list. That's an excellent list. Okay, we've seen that he's a good passer. I'm trying to see more of his defensive highlights or some more of his dribbling. That's what I really want to see from Zubimendi. Some more defensive highlights or some more, how do you say, Oh, what's it called? Dribbling highlights. What is he like in small tight corners? I know he's good, but I just want to watch some more clips on that. Very good ball progressor. These clips are not giving me enough, man. Good video, but it's not giving me enough. I'm just seeing the same few highlights all the time. Him just pinging balls side to side. Okay, we'll stop at that because I'm just seeing the same thing over and over again. And we're going to go over to FBRF and look at his stats. Bear with me one sec, guys. Perfect. Hopefully you guys can see this. So yeah, as far as his, I'm not really liking some of his other stats. Anyways, so and this is what I like about this FBRF comparison is that it compares him to other players in the same position, and it's not just the La Liga. It's comparing him to the top 5 European leagues, which I really like. Sorry, top 5 European leagues and Champions League and Europa League competitions and performances. So this is really comparing him against the best of the best. Straight away, I'm not really I was never expecting to see a lot when it came to his scoring and assists. I'm not really concerned about that, and I'm pretty sure that's not what Arsenal are necessarily looking for. Definitely always nice when you get your CDM that can score goals and has a high output rate, but that's not going to be the deal breaker here. The deal breaker here is going to be pass completion, clearances, tackles. That's going to be what's most important. And I'm looking at some of these numbers, like pass completion at 85%. That's pretty good. Blocks are 2 per 90. Interceptions are 1 per 90, 1 block per 90. Again, he's about 5'11", so he's winning 1 aerial duel or 1.7 aerial duel per 90 as well. Progressive passes at 6 per 90. These numbers look pretty good. I'm wondering why the percentile, aside from clearances and aerials 1, why they're so low. I'm wondering why his percentiles are so low. What I'm going to do as well is going to compare him to someone that says compare him to someone that's a bit higher up, if that makes sense, because there's no reason for his percentiles to be so low. If you told me that CDM is averaging pass completion of 85%, very good. He's averaging 50 passes per 90 as well, and he's completing 85% of them. Not bad at all. He's got progressive passes again at 6 per 90. That is very good as well. And yeah, these are not bad numbers at all. So why are they so low? Let's compare him to someone else. I don't want to compare him to Rodri because Rodri is the best in business. Okay, but let's compare him to Rodri then. Just for the sake of it, let's compare him to Rodri. Benjamin Andre or Andre. Who's this? I have no idea who this is. Interesting. I wanted to compare him to Rodri, but how do I do that? How do I do that? I forgot how to do that. Anyways, I really wanted to compare him to some of the other players, but anyways, his numbers look good. I would still want to know who is so elite that is making his numbers look so bad and kind of dwarfing his numbers. Not dwarfing them, but for them to be in the 60 percentile. Who's averaging 90% pass completion? Okay, let's really look at this. What's Rodri doing? Rodri's the best in business, Ballon d'Or winner, best CDM in the world. What's he averaging? España, Rodri. So many guys called Rodri, man. Yeah, there you go. Okay, here it is. Here are the real numbers. Here is how Zubimendi compares to Rodri. There you go. Now, again, a bit unfair because Rodri is the best player in the world, but Arsenal are trying to win the league. So this is the guy that he's going to be directly compared against. And if you're comparing Zubimendi's numbers, Rodri's averaging a lot more. Well, Rodri's numbers are crazy. Just not looking directly at his numbers, just looking at the percentile. Rodri is on the 99 percentile for passes completed, 97 percentile for pass completion, 99 percentile for progressive passes, 94 percentile for progressive carries, 85th percentile for successful take-ons, and 90th percentile for touches on the attacking penalty. Anyways, like Rodri is in a league of his own. People saying Rodri didn't deserve to win the Ballon d'Or. Rodri is performing at a level that no one else is. That's why I was wondering, why are Zubimendi's numbers so low? I mean, in terms of percentiles, because of Rodri. Because of players like Rodri that have set a completely new standard. And now when you compare that to a guy like Declan Rice, who's playing in the same team, yeah, Declan Rice's numbers and Zubimendi's numbers are a lot closer, but Rodri, oh my days, is making everyone else look mediocre. But yeah, Zubimendi is a good signing for Arsenal. It's timely as well. If they could have gotten him in this January transfer window, would have been quite good. But again, not realistic. Sociedad weren't gonna sell right now, but at least they got the deal done now, and they know they're gonna be getting him. So in my books, that's a W for Arsenal. Now, what else did I want to talk about? Because I know this is not it. I know I still have a few more things on the agenda. But yeah, at least we've covered Zubimendi. We've covered Zubimendi and Yamal, which were the two main topics. Oh yeah, Isak. We're definitely going to talk about Isak, and then we're going to get into some NBA stuff towards the end as well. And then to finish everything off today, we'll be looking at, okay, I'm going to save the Xavi video for next time, guys, but we'll be looking at what happened between Napoli and Kvaratskhelia and why their relationship soured so much. Anyways, but yeah, talking about Isak again, we're gonna do the same thing. Before we go on this video though, so before we go to FBRF and YouTube, United are losing. How surprising. Manuel Ugarte own goal. Good job, United. Anyways, of course we're losing. If I go to transfer market and look at Isak, because I don't really care about United right now, this team only serves to disappoint me. We're playing bottom of the league. Manchester United were playing bottom of the league and we are losing. I'm so done with this team. Anyways, Alexander Isak. And with Isak, hey, let's be honest. Let's make sure you guys can see this first of all. With Isak, you guys can see it anyways. My bad. With Isak, let's be honest, guys. Newcastle have a gem in their hands, and we've known this now for 2 seasons at least. Newcastle need to go out there and spend some of that money. They have one of the richest owners in the Premier League. I know, fair play this, fair play that, but they need to go out there and spend some money because they have a gem and Isak, and they need to make sure that they give this team all the tools necessary to become successful, because this team should be finishing in the top 4, really and truly. You look at Isak's numbers and they are elite. Nothing short of elite. 19 games played in the Premier League. He has scored 15 goals and he has 5 assists. Halfway through the season, and this guy is already on 20 goal contributions. Round of applause, please. Round of applause. There are certain numbers that I believe forwards in the Premier League should be able to hit. Forwards playing in the top league, in the top teams, and 20 goal contributions is something that I believe every elite forward should be able to achieve season in and season out. It's not an easy thing to do, but if you're a forward competing at the highest level in the Premier League, you should be able to do that, and Isak has done that already. By the end of the season, Isak is most likely going to score 20 goals. Let's give the man his flowers. When someone is performing, we're going to give them their flowers. But yeah, don't waste too much time, guys. We're going to get into the video because Isak is showtime. Isak is showtime. He's clinical. He's able to create chances for himself and others. He's relentless. He's got the right mindset. He's got he has a good physical stature, which allows him to be very diverse in his scoring range. Isak is like Newcastle. You've got your striker. You've got your striker. Let's go and spend some more money elsewhere. You've got a gem in your hands. And something that I find funny about Isak, and something people always make like jokes about and memes about, is how tall he is. But if you watch him dribble and the way he carries himself on the pitch, he doesn't act like his typical height. He's about 6'3". Isak is very tall, but how he goes around the pitch as if he was like 5'7", 5'6". He's very, very agile. Very agile. Isak, in my opinion, he just possesses. He's just a player that possesses all the right tools to be an elite Premier League striker. He's got the pace. He's got the one-on-one ability. He's got the link-up play. He's got the finishing. He's got everything necessary, and his output is displaying exactly that. This is what I mean by Newcastle need to capitalize on this performance. You don't get a player like Isak all the time, and as well, you don't get top players sometimes have a dip in form. They don't play quite well. You've got your best player playing the best football he's ever played. You should be capitalizing on this. We're talking about Liverpool and not signing players, this and that. We're talking about Liverpool not signing players and etc. and Liverpool having to renew their contracts with Trent and Salah. Liverpool are already successful. At least for the last 5 to 6 years, Liverpool have been the second most successful club in the Premier League. And they've lost titles to City to like a 1 point difference to the last game of the season. Like those types of scenarios. Newcastle don't have that same luxury. Newcastle haven't won anything in ages. They need to go out there and spend as much money as possible, responsibly, of course. And by responsibly, I'm not talking about fair play, although fair play should definitely come into question. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about responsibly in the sense that you should be signing players that are going to fit the way you want to play. And again, Isak helps that. And now you need to try and build your attack around the player like Isak. Anthony Gordon was definitely a good signing. But again, you had players like Kvaratskhelia roaming around. You've got a player like Nico Williams, who was around in the summer. You know, he was meant to go to Barcelona. Barcelona now have Rafinha playing extremely well. Maybe Nico Williams can go to another team. You've got Orban Marmoush. So, you know, City are really going in for Marmoush. Maybe Newcastle could step in and throw some cash. You know, Newcastle is a club that should be on the come up. You know, I feel like they've taken things slow enough. They've built a good squad with a good manager. Now is the time to go out there and spend some real money. Throw some cash at players, man. And now's the time to be doing that. I felt like when they were first bought out, they were struggling in the league. They had an excellent second half to that season. Then the next season they finished 4th behind United. They got the Champions League football, but that time's over now. Last season was disappointing. This season's is not been the best, and that next year they really need to come out swinging. And again, they are very lucky that they've got a player like Isak behind them. Again, we're talking about Isak. I've seen Isak score so many goals from so many different scenarios. Like this header just goes to show this guy can score. Traveling down, coming from the left on a 1-on-1, he can do a little tap in. You can put the ball in the air, he'll score a header. He's so what's the word? He's so, oh my days, what's the word? Oh my god, what's the word? What's the word for Isak? I lost it. Diverse? There's another word. I'm losing my head. Anyways, he's got so many different ways to score that really helps his Arsenal. It really helps his scoring Arsenal. How well he's able to score. And again, I've said this before, but again, the way he's able to link up with teammates. Like here, this pass he makes, and then he's just able to slowly walk into the box. 1-on-1 here, takes it inside, ball to Gordon. Gets past 2 players like it's nothing. And again, he's already scored 15 goals in 19 Premier League games this season. He's doing his thing. Isak is doing his thing. And that's really the... If you want to take anything away from this video, that's it. That's that exactly. Isak is doing his thing. Like one of the best players in the Premier League this season, easily. Patient, never rushing, hard working. I wish we had Isak at United. So jealous of Newcastle. I wish we had Isak. I wish we were the ones that went and got him from Spain. I wish we had that foresight and that belief on the player. Oh my days. You just look at what Newcastle is working with, and you look at what we're working with. We don't have one good forward this season. And this is crazy to say, a club like Manchester United, we don't have one good forward. We have players coming in and out, sometimes performing, but not one good forward. I am so jealous of Newcastle. So jealous. Okay, but we'll stop this reaction right here. You know, it's been good, but it gets to a point where you're just seeing the player running around. And we're going to do the same thing we've been doing all night, and we're going to go and look at Isak's FBRF. We're going to go and look at Isak's FBRF. bro. And his numbers. So again, these numbers are comparing him to the best players in Europe. These numbers are it's Isak being compared to the top 5 leagues in Europe, including the Champions League and Europa League, and you can clearly see, like what I've been talking about Isak being elite. If you don't believe me, believe the numbers. If you don't believe me, believe the numbers. Isak ranks in the 90th percentile for non-penalty goals at 0.7 per 90. His XG is also up there at 0.6, and Isak is kind of exceeding that, and at the 96th percentile. Total shots, not on target necessarily, but Isak is averaging 3 shots per 90. Again, could be a bit higher. I feel like any elite forward should be averaging at least 5 shots per 90, because these are not on target, these are just shots per 90. But again, he scored 15 goals. I'm not going to be mad at that, but I would like to see that number from Isak go a bit higher. He should be averaging 5 shots per 90. Assists are 0.2 per 90 as well, very good, exceeding his expected assists. And shot creating actions are 3.4 per 90 as well. Like his offensive output and all the different things he provides to Newcastle offensively is nothing short of elite. Isak is one of the best players in the world, easily. World class player. And yeah, I was looking for this one as well. When it comes to successful take-ons, Isak ranks on the 91st percentile amongst players in his position at 1.6 successful take-ons per 90. Very good. What else is screaming out here? Progressive carries as well at 2.7 per 90. Like, he's just an elite player, man. Round of applause for Isak. Isak is just an elite player. There's nothing really else to say. We've looked at the numbers. We've looked at his playing style. We've seen his output for the season. Isak is an elite player, world-class player, and this comparison is against the best players in his position. It is including players like Vinicius Jr., Kylian Mbappe, Cole Palmer, Harry Kane, etc., etc., and you're seeing how Isak compares to these players. He's up there, 98th percentile, 96th, 99th percentile for non-expected goals and expected assists. I mean, non-penalty expected goals and assists. His output is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, oh my days. Anyways, but yeah, that's Isak done. We've talked about Isak. And yeah, I've made my own video about Kvaratskhelia, and to be fair, it's only been out for like 3 hours, and I appreciate the support on that video. It's doing quite well. But I just want to see what Burner TV has to say about Kvaratskhelia, and if we've made any of the same points or anything like that. If we've made the same points, what's being said, if I got anything wrong on my analysis. So we're going to see what Burner TV is saying. Yeah, guys, let's get into it.
There was talk of him joining Paris Saint-Germain in the summer. I think that talk will still be out there now.
Antonio Conte came out and said he's asked to leave the club.
Well, that was fast. I know it wasn't out of nowhere per se, as there were murmurs in the summer, but nobody expected a mid-season transfer of this magnitude. A player of Kvaratskhelia reputation, leaving the team that is currently in first in Serie A to join PSG, according to Fab.
Again, this is what I said. This goes back to Napoli being extremely incompetent, number one, and Kvaratskhelia being as competitive as I thought that he was. I knew he was going to leave. I didn't think he was going to leave in the summer. But again, I've talked about Napoli about this time and time again. A team as good as Napoli, with the talent that they possess, they should have been way more diligent when it came to their handling of Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen. They may still win the league, but this situation definitely looks bad. Let's carry on.
Things to clarify, and
And all of this just a few months after Napoli supporters went through the circus that was Victor Osimhen's strange exit from the club.
So I'm saying, Napoli have embarrassed themselves with the handling of both Kvaratskhelia and Osimhen. And I am a fan of the Serie A. When you compare the Serie A to the likes of the Premier League, where it's just Man City or Liverpool winning, the likes of La Liga, where it's just Madrid, Barca, and Atletico, Serie A has been competitive, and throughout the last 6 or 7 years, you've had Juve, Napoli, AC Milan, Inter Milan all winning, and you've had teams like Atalanta also being competitive. I really enjoyed the Serie A, and I still want to see Napoli being competitive, but this is not the way to handle your superstars, especially players that we knew from your Scudetto winning year were in high demand.
Maybe it's the fact that Ivica Kvaratskhelia is still on his original contract from when he signed in 2022, meaning he's ranked 19th amongst the highest paid Napoli players. Or maybe there's another reason. But we'll go through it all with the help once again from my man Dom from Napoli Talk, great friend of the channel.
Now, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that Kvaratskhelia was still on the same contract he had when he first signed to Napoli. The best player on the team, especially now with Osimhen gone, Kvaratskhelia is easily the best player on the team. And you're telling me that Kvaratskhelia isn't the best. You're telling me that Kvaratskhelia isn't the best player, the best paid player on the team? That is a joke. That is a joke and a horrible way for Napoli to handle their business. Let's carry on.
It all with the help once again from my man Dom from Napoli Talk, great friend of the channel, great knowledge of Napoli. Shall we get to just how things collapse between Napoli and Kvara? How will they fare without him? And first and foremost, how did we get to this point?
Still, Ivica Kvaratskhelia!
Dom joined us just months ago to speak positively about things at Napoli, with how well they are doing under Conte. So where we left off, Conte had told those who he wanted to stay that they would stay, and in case they didn't want to stay and he wanted them there, Conte would get them to clean boots or work in the kitchen, do whatever. It was his club and they'd do things his way.
And everything was quiet. Everything was quiet. And there was no big drama in the background. There were a few things from the agent.
That's another thing that may have possibly pushed Kvaratskhelia over the edge to go to PSG. I think Antonio Conte is an amazing manager. His track record speaks for itself. What he done with Chelsea in his first season was amazing. What he done with Juventus was amazing. However, Antonio Conte is notoriously known for being a difficult manager to work with. And from the reports that are coming out, it's probably the case where him and Kvaratskhelia or him and someone going to a little bit of a disagreement. And it's probably told to okay, if you don't want to be here, go. And Kvaratskhelia said, yeah, I'll dip. And again, that is not the best way to handle your business.
But
A team that's first in the league, that's not the best way to handle the business.
thinking was that things would just naturally happen over the summer. And maybe in June, you either have a new contract or you part ways.
So essentially, Napoli wouldn't have thought that Kvara would have handed in a transfer request mid-season, when the club is currently at the top of Serie A. I'm not sure many people expected Napoli to be in this position in Serie A, considering where they came from in the season prior, the disaster season, the massive season-long hangover, really, from winning the Scudetto with Spalletti. I mean,
why can't you stay organised? I've experienced this myself, and it's called chronic impulse control, where you prioritize.
with Conte, a guy who basically guarantees silverware, except at Tottenham, right? But come on, right? But with Conte, there's always at least a strong chance that you'll win something. And so with the players that arrived in the summer, plus the guys that Conte was able to convince to stay, such as Kvara, that's led to a fantastic campaign where they have been fighting Atalanta for the top spot, overtaking them after their victory over Fiorentina in early January. But that match had a bit of a warning sign.
All of a sudden, Kvara doesn't get named in the team sheet last week with a injury, And we all know what that means when someone gets an injury in the months of January or late August. It means that you're on the market. It means that someone's out there that's serious about getting you, and the club doesn't.
Again, I wanted Kvaratskhelia to go. I've been saying this on my channel for like over a year now. I did want him to go to a big European club because I know how good he is and I know what that can do for his career. However, I never wanted him to go in the middle of the season when Napoli were top of the league. I feel like, again, that's bad business from Napoli. And I'm not going to blame Kvaratskhelia at all. As I've said, these players need to be selfish because some of these clubs will leave them out to dry. Players have to be selfish, okay? Napoli should have handled the situation a lot better. The contract for PSG is like Kvaratskhelia is going to be getting paid like something like 5 times what he's earning right now at Napoli. How, as a football player, how are you going to say no to that? As someone like Kvaratskhelia who came from a poor background. Pardon me, Georgia is a great country, but economically Georgia is not up there really and truly, if we're being honest. So if someone who's come from, you know, a poor background, who's done everything he possibly could have done for Napoli, and Napoli's not really shown that love back. How is your best player in the team get, you know, the 19th best played, the 20th best paid in the team? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Let's carry on.
Don't want to risk you getting injured. And Conte confirmed as much leading up to the Napoli-Verona game on the weekend, saying that Kvara handed in a transfer request. And that was a huge shock because, I mean, we're first in the table. And Kvara's maybe not performing at his best, as I said, but he's an integral part of the team. So it's very strange for a player to leave a club that's first in the league while you're a starter.
Now, Conte himself has mentioned that he is disappointed in how things have gone. Not that he's mad at the club, nor is he even upset with Kvara.
No, he should be. Conte, you are mad at Tottenham for being incompetent. Conte should also be mad at Napoli for the way they handled the situation. And now, we're not going to blow this overboard because Napoli are still first in the league. They can still win the league. They're being competitive. We know all that stuff. But if I'm a manager and one of my best players goes because the club couldn't give him a better contract, I'm going to be extremely mad at that. Extremely mad at that. But again, let's not blow things overboard because Napoli are still first in the league.
As a former player, I'm sure he knows that Kvara has to do what he believes is best for him.
Yeah, man.
Conte's more just disappointed that he wasn't able to convince Kvara to stay, that he wasn't able to convince him that Napoli was the best place for him, that they can achieve something fantastic once again with the club, build his legacy further in the city, improve him as a player. Similarly, that he couldn't convince the club to make coming to an agreement of the highest priority for them.
He said in the summer, if I say someone doesn't go, he doesn't go. And so I think that hurt his ego that Kvara, after 6 months, said, you know what, I'm not listening to that. Here's my official transfer request.
Well, he hasn't been the outrageously good Kvara of his first season. Again, we don't judge any Napoli players for last season, really. But he has still been quite good. Beyond just the goal and assist numbers, of which he has 5 goals and 3 assists this season, he carries that reputation of being dangerous. He demands the attention of the opposition. But
I feel like his performances have not been at the level of 2 years ago. Maybe it's because of these contract negotiations happening in the background. Maybe he's not able to perform with a clear mind.
Now, as much as I love Kvaratskhelia, and you guys know how much I like this player, a good point is brought up here, and I've talked about this on the stream on Sunday as well. Kvaratskhelia this season has not been performing has not been performing at his best. He's going to PSG, and the media out in France, they're cutthroat. The media out in France are extremely cutthroat, and if Kvaratskhelia is not performing, and if PSG go out in a silly way as they always do in the Champions League, and then next season they don't do as well in the league, fingers are going to get pointed at. And it's always easy to point the finger at the new signing. It's always easy to point the finger at the new guy that was meant to come over and save the club, but has not been able to do it. I still think that Kvaratskhelia has all the talent in the world to make it happen. But again, you look at people like João Felix, who I also thought had all the talent in the world. Look at how he's playing right now. Not very good. You know, his output is not there. So again, he's just a cautious warning to Kvaratskhelia, where he's an excellent player, but with your salary being multiplied 5 times, with going to a bigger club in one of the biggest cities in the world, you're going from Napoli to Paris, the eyes of everyone are going to be on you. PSG is also a club that a lot of teams outside of Europe and globally support. There's going to be a lot more eyes on Kvaratskhelia this season.
Mind. And at times on the field, he's been a little bit emotional and nervous, you know, maybe reacting to little things like someone fouls him, the referee doesn't give a foul, and he reacts. You know, he's very just jumpy at the moment. He's trying a bit too much to get that amazing goal and top bins, and sometimes we don't need him to do that. Sometimes we just need him to put in a cross, even if it's not the sexiest thing in the world.
Speaking of sexy things, that's a great way of describing just how not only good Napoli was under Spalletti, but how they played. And a large part of that was down to Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. With Antonio Conte, you get results, but you also get a very different approach to the game, which made me wonder, did Conte's tactics have anything to do with this? That's not to say that attackers don't thrive under Conte. Look at Lukaku, look at how Neres has been playing lately. But it's not the free-flowing, free-scoring attack of the Spalletti days. And I wonder how much of that has played on Kvara's decision.
It's no surprise that Conte is extremely defensive-minded. Napoli have 12 clean sheets in the league right now out of 20 games. That tells you all you need to know about Conte's priority. And that means that if you're a winger, the number one priority is to track back, is to defend. And Kvara sometimes, you know, he receives the ball before the halfway line and he's got 50 meters, 50 yards to run.
Not every player will so easily adapt to any single style of play. I know this is a random example. But I remember when Niko Kovac was sacked by Bayern, and Thomas Muller would later speak about how it just didn't feel like Bayern finally getting the ball way too close to their own box and then having to go all the way down the pitch. How things changed so greatly with Hansi Flick in charge, right? But of course, there is no single reason for Kvara and Napoli to have come to this. It's always an accumulation of things, and when it comes to Kvaratskhelia, the same could be said. See, as I mentioned in the intro, Kvara is still on the same salary from when he signed with Napoli in 2022, when they signed him from...
Yeah, but I think we get just the gist of the video. I'm going to react to more of this in my own free time, but I feel like we've covered Kvaratskhelia enough in the sense that I've made a video about him, I've made a reaction on him, we've watched a lot of videos, we've watched this one now from Rabona TV, massive fan of Rabona TV. Go subscribe to them if you want to. Great channel. I've always been a fan of them even before I started my own YouTube channel, so yeah, go do that. But yeah, I just feel like I don't want to be on the same dead horse, and there's a lot of speculation, and I'm more someone that likes to analyze things that are happening right now, or even just react to things. Too much speculation, in my opinion, in sports is kind of a waste of time, because as we always say, these speculations and these how do you say, and these predictions, they always have a way to hit the fan, you know. They always have a way to not go how you want them to go. So we'll stop it there. We will stop it there. But we'll move on, because there's still other things that we need to talk about. And mainly, yeah, I feel like that's enough football talk. I feel like we've covered the main things in football. I want to talk about Zubimendi. We've talked about Zubimendi. I want to talk about Kvaratskhelia. We talked about Kvaratskhelia again. Lamine Yamal and Isak. I want to talk about a bit about basketball. I want to talk about Jason Tatum. So this is basketball and it's killing TV ratings. Oh, do you want to talk? Do you want to look at how the Celtics solved basketball or how no one respects JT. We'll react to the no one respects JT later. That's a good video. Actually, we'll do this one now, and then we'll do the other one another stream or another time.
They love me. They care about me. So,
for players that qualify, he's been one of the worst.
Let's react to JT. Without wasting any more time, guys, let's get straight into it.
For players that qualify, he's been one of the worst.
You're probably not winning a title.
Never going to be the best player in the league. Maybe going to flirt with number 5.
Who do you think's the best player in the NBA right now?
Myself.
Myself is crazy. Now, every basketball player needs to believe they're the best player in the world, I guess. But JT, I don't think there's been a time Jason Tatum has ever been the best player in the NBA. Like, not even close. And I say not even close, and I mean that. You look at Giannis's run. You look at Jokic's run. You look out, and then when Giannis was having his run, LeBron was the closest to winning MVP at the time. You can even argue that LeBron should have won MVP then. Then you look at Jokic. No one's been able to stop him. The closest have been SGA and Luka at times, or even Steph. When Steph had his little run when he was the scoring champion, and then the playoffs, JT is never that guy. So yeah, I don't think JT has ever been the best player in the NBA. Not like that even just sounds dumb saying that out loud. Of course he hasn't. What am I saying? Let's carry on.
4 conference finals and a finals appearance before the age of 26 is elite.
Despite finally winning a championship and winning Olympic gold, Jason Tatum continues to be disrespected.
Winning Olympic gold. Hey, I don't not too much on JT, but JT won Olympic gold. How many minutes did he play? 15, 20? He was part of the team for sure, but just throwing out winning accolades to anyone, huh? Alright, let me stop hating on him, man. I'm not hating, it's just he didn't win. I mean, he did win, but didn't do much, if at all. It's a fact. Let's carry on.
Respected. There was more talk about how Jaylen Brown beat him to Finals MVP and how he was benched for Team USA than the work Tatum did on the court. This is a guy who averaged 25 points, 9.7 rebounds, and 6.3 assists in the 2024 playoffs. He became just the 6th player in NBA history to lead his team in points, rebounds, and assists during a championship run. He is the first player to record 50 points in the regular season, postseason, and All-Star game all in the same season. Tatum is a 5-time All-Star. He was first-team All-NBA. Yet there was more talk about his celebrations being corny.
That's a real feeling. We did it.
Now, I will say, Tatum has definitely had more hate thrown his way, in a sense. I hope that makes I hope that makes sense for you guys. Tatum has definitely been hated more on after last season, because before that you had a lot of people saying Tatum is top 3 in MVP runs. Tatum's underrated. He's the best player in the Celtics. Being inconsistent during the playoffs is going to do this. Because when it matters most, he was very, very inconsistent. And then, again, what's part of the reason why people were talking about Jaylen Brown so much last year during the playoffs over JT, and why that was a bit overshadowed, is because JT was running his mouth saying he was the best player in the NBA. Now, you should feel like that, but he was still running his mouth. A lot of Celtic fans were running their mouths about JT being comparing him to LeBron and other silly stuff. So when it comes to the finals and you're not performing like that, and you've got Jaylen Brown in your team who is performing at that level, people are gonna point their fingers. Now, I personally believe that's been a bit overboard. I tend to believe that people are taking a bit too far. Like, again, I'm just pointing out that he didn't perform as well in the playoffs. I still think JT is easily one of the most elite players in the NBA. But it comes with the territory. When Kobe was getting to the finals and Shaq was winning finals MVP, and then Shaq left and Kobe wasn't winning, what was the narrative? The narrative was Kobe needed Shaq to carry him. Again, people are always going to go back to the playoffs. No matter how good you perform in the regular season, people are going to charge your performances on the playoffs. And if, God forbid, you're inconsistent on the playoffs, that's going to be the whole narrative for the next year until you're able to prove people wrong. So what JT needs to do right now is this playoffs, he needs to make sure that there are no questions asked. No questions asked, especially after what happened in the Olympics. No questions asked about how great of a player he is. He needs to be consistent from game 1 to the finals. Let's carry on.
Than his actual performances. So why is one of the best players in the league constantly overlooked? The recent narratives around Tatum have made people forget just how good this guy is. In high school, he was a 5-star recruit and ranked 3rd in the country.
Respectfully, I don't care about high school, and neither do I care about college. Respectfully, I don't care about high school or college. We're talking about the NBA, because a lot of people were glazing Tatum before. He performed bad in the playoffs. He needs to come back and show people what's good. It's that simple. It's that simple. People are always gonna have the narratives if you don't perform in the playoffs. JT, we know you're nice. Just show us you can be consistent.
Rebounds and 1 assist in the summer league. He got even better as the regular
Again,
season
we
started.
know about his rookie season. We don't really care about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's move on. 2018, no one cares about 2018. These guys lost.
Stretching will not make.
Let's be for real. Again, I feel like he's doing a good job in this video, showing people or trying to remind people how good JT is. But if you're a real NBA fan, you know JT is nice. You know, I don't want to react to all of this COVID, 2020, all this stuff. 2021, 22. I want to go back to this season and this recent run. Right?
As a disappointment.
No one's going to be happy about anything with 24, the spectacular statistical profile they have.
53 points before the age of 25. He made another All-Star team, won All-Star MVP, and surpassed Larry Bird in the put-up multi again to the Heat.
Dead silent. They play.
Talk about breaking up Jaylen Brown and Tatum.
There you go. Let's carry on from here.
There was an idea that Boston can't win with both of them together.
Trade deadline just about a month away. Is it time for the Celtics to be breaking up their duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Mr. Wilbon?
I've been sitting next to our dear friend Kendrick Perkins so frequently, and Perk has persuaded me, and it's just logic. It's simple logic, and it's from an ex-Celtic. Yeah, it's time to break them up.
That ended up not happening. And
Kendrick Perkins and Logic. Kendrick Perkins and Logic. Again, I'm glad them boys won something. I'm glad they managed to shut up a lot of people. I'm glad them boys won something. I'm glad Tatum and Jaylen Brown were able to win something, man. Together, that is. I still feel like, again, JT, I'm the type of person that generally, as an individual, I'm someone, I'll give you your praise when you do something amazing, and I'll criticize you when you underperform, but I will never blow it out of proportion. I'll never, say you're the worst player ever, and I will never say you're the greatest ever until you show me. And that's the thing. A lot of NBA fans, they're like a yo-yo. Like, they'll glaze you like crazy one year, and then next year they'll say you're not worth anything and that you need to be traded. I'm not one of those NBA fans. I'm not one of those fans. I'm someone that generally takes the game. I take the game seriously in a way. I take sports seriously. So for Jason Tatum right now, I don't really feel bad for him in a way, because he's still a great player. You just need to go out there and literally just show people you can be consistent. That's it. Forget the Jaylen Brown comparisons. You guys are champions. You've won something. Just about this year, going out there, repeating, and this time you get yours. It's that simple.
And after years of heartbreak, Tatum and Brown ended up finally winning a championship together. While Tatum might not have stolen the headlines with individual awards, Celtic fans can tell you just how impactful he was.
Hey, look who it is. It's Jason Tatum holding the Larry O'Brien trophy, pulling out of the garage here at TD Garden, and he's followed by a truck carrying confetti. And the crowd is at its loudest point that we've heard all day as Jason Tatum is seen on the top of that duck boat.
There are only 5 other players to lead their team in points, rebounds, and assists during a championship run. Tatum and Jaylen Brown became the first Celtics duo to each post at least 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in an NBA Finals game. In doing so, they also surpassed Larry Bird and Kevin McHale for the most 25-point games as a Celtics duo in playoff history. With Boston's team being so talented, Tatum wasn't needed to be as big of a scorer. He didn't need to do what he did against the Bucks in Game 6 in 2022, or in Game 7 against the Sixers in 2023. It's why Tatum was consistently getting triple-doubles while defending at an elite level. He was doing all the little things needed to lead to winning basketball. As a result though, Tatum was getting less recognition just because his team was good. The way some people acted, you would have thought that Tatum...
I feel like that's a very good point. I feel that's like a very good point, and something that even I looked over a little bit. This Celtics team, the way they play basketball, they literally play basketball the right way. The Celtics play basketball the right way. And when you do that, your stars are going to take a lesser role. And, you know, with the reactionary NBA fans of today, they won't look at all the other things Tatum is doing on the court. They're going to look at Tatum. Oh, he didn't get 20 points this game. Oh, his 3-point percentage this game was a bit off. I'm talking about the playoffs last year, of course. Oh, Jaylen Brown outscored him. You know, they're going to be looking at all these different headlines. They're going to be like, oh, Tatum's not good anymore. You know, that's the conclusion they're going to come to. But again, very good point here in the sense that in a team in a well-oiled machine like the Celtics, every single star is going to take a hit to their performances.
Tatum was just some role player on this Celtics team.
He sucks! He sucks! He is trash! He is trash! Tatum is trash! Tatum sucks!
Same thing in the Olympics. Maybe Tatum...
That's such a weird thing to do. Imagine going up to, like, you're going out of your way to go to the hotel where this professional athlete is, and you just start shouting just negative stuff towards that athlete. Imagine if this was the average person. That's just weird. Why are some people weird? Why would you do that? That's just weird. Like, oh my god.
Tatum wasn't the
Get a life.
best for the 2024 Team USA, but let's not forget what he did for them in 2021 in Tokyo, averaging 15.2 points, 3.3 rebounds, 1.2 assists, being the second highest scorer on the team behind Durant as he helped USA win gold. Are there faults in his game that need improving? Absolutely. But let's not act like a guy who was first team All-NBA is some sort of chump. There needs to be more respect around his name. To see just how good the Celtics were with Tatum, you have to check out this video right here.
www video. W video. His channel is Ped Talks. PED Talks NBA. I'm going to subscribe. W video. You guys can do the same if you want after. www video. Anyways, let me know in the chat if there's anything else that you guys want to react to. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Again, just trying to be as consistent as much as possible. Trying to react to as much content, as much basketball content as possible. Let me know what you guys think. Oh, PD Talks NBA, and he also has a PD Talks Sports. Okay, he's got 2 channels. Very, very smart. I like that. I like that. Funny RDC. Oh, Anthony Edwards. Yeah, let's check out Anthony Edwards. I like that. I like that, Frederick. Let's see what they're saying about Anthony Edwards. Pretty good performances lately, to be fair. Oh, it's Anthony Edwards regressing. Oh, what? Let's see what they're talking about.
Your personalized car insurance deals from Auto Sergey, already done for you.
Simples.
Ugh, get.
Anthony Edwards just had a monster 53-point game against the Pistons, but despite this ridiculous individual performance, the Timberwolves still lost by 14 points, making this their third straight loss. And while Ant just had a big game, he has been struggling individually in his previous 9 games. In this video, we're going to do a deep dive on the stats.
Now, this season, Ant has definitely had periods during the season where he has underperformed individually, but as far as the team performances goes, that was just the New York Knicks coming to Minnesota and winning the trade. They won the trade. It's as simple as that. New York came to Minnesota and they won the trade. It was so silly of Minnesota to think that they were going to do what they did with Cat going all the way to the conference finals with Julius Randle. Like the difference in skill set and what Cat was able to provide to that team defensively as well. People always talk about Cat being soft and him not being able to handle himself defensively, but during that run, that playoff run last year, especially against the Nuggets, Cat definitely was able to do his thing offensively and defensively. And when your superstar player loses his running mate, the team is going to struggle. It was a very dumb trade from Minnesota side. I don't even know why they done it. I don't know how they thought they were going to get better with Julius Randle instead of Cat. That was just dumb. Anyways, let's carry on.
Why are you the way that you are?
Okay, that was an accident. Let's carry on.
Thing we have to look at is Ant's massive jump in 3-point volume. So far this year, Edwards is attempting just under 10 3-point attempts per game, which right now is the third highest across the NBA. And this is the trend for most teams across the league. 3 points are obviously worth more than 2, and analytically it is the most efficient way for teams to play. But for Edwards specifically, his up in 3-point volume does have some real negative impacts to his game. First, Ant's numbers at the rim this year are way down. According to Synergy Sports, just over 25% of his total field goal attempts this year are at the rim, which is a major dip when comparing those numbers to last year. And that drop in volume around the rim also bleeds over to his total free throw attempts, where his volume right now is the lowest it's been since his rookie year. Now, everybody to start this season was looking over this, because Ant for the first couple of months was an absolute flamethrower from behind the line, but shots over the past few weeks have stopped falling, which I think is really exposing the depth.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen because teams are able to adjust. Like if you're at the start of the season, you're just able to if you're able to make those threes time and time again, people are going to catch up to that, and they're going to adjust to that and make sure they're going to make it more difficult to make those threes, or they're going to stop you. You can't really stop a player like Ant, so they're probably going to they're going to make it more difficult for you to make those shots. And again, Ant now not having his running mate, not having Cat by his side, is going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt.
Downsides to his new play style. And I also think Ant's 3-point heavy game has really hurt his mentality as a scorer, where instead of attacking first and looking to pull up second, he's now really hunting these pull-ups in pick and roll and isolation. Take this play for example. Ant's going to catch off this Gobert handoff, and with the ball side corner empty and the slower footed big being pulled out beyond the 3, this should be an easy blow by towards the baseline. which would either lead to a shot at the rim or a kick out to one of these shooters on the weak side. But Ant instead elevates up for this contested pull-up 3. Now on this play, he's going to get the switch with Payton Pritchard. And with Rudy Gobert off the floor, the paint is wide open for Ant. And I don't think Pritchard has any business guarding him out in open space. But Edwards again hunts for this contested pull-up. And some people may think that these gaps for Ant are pretty small, which may be true, but Edwards is one of the most dynamic slashers across the league. And I think if he's playing with that attack first mindset, he's easily got the game to both dust his man on the perimeter and slice past the gap defense.
Definitely an adjustment he's gonna need to make. I feel like that's a very good point he made here. But definitely an adjustment Ant is going to need to make going into the playoffs. Again, I've been saying this like so many times in this video, but I'm gonna say it one more time. Ant has lost his main running mate. Rudy Gobert is not going to do what Cat was doing offensively. Ant is going to get a lot more double teams. He's going to command a lot more of that attention, and he can't look for Cat to take that pressure off him anymore. He needs to be able to be more diverse when it comes to his scoring options. Otherwise, teams are just going to be able to plan and scheme for him a lot easier. And we know how playoff basketball gets. I do not like regular season basketball. Like, historically, I don't. Too many games. I'm someone that really enjoys sports. I watch golf. I watch Formula 1. I watch football. I watch American football. I watch whatever, bro. I watch so many sports. I watch tennis, and I'll tell you right now, the regular season in the NBA is one of my least favorite sports events to watch, especially compared to the playoffs. Playoff basketball is amazing. It's seven games, best of 4, where people are going hard, people are scheming for it, legacies are on the line. But regular season basketball, there's so many teams that are coasting, and it makes the product a lot less desirable to watch. When Ant gets to the playoff, and there's a lot of times where, as we've seen in this video, is very well highlighted, where he's trying to go for those threes, he won't be able to do that. He won't be able to do that in the finals. He won't be able to do that against the Nuggets. He won't be able to do that against the Clippers. He needs to be more diverse. People need to be aware that Ant can do both. Attack the rim and shoot behind the arc, which he can do, just about his decision making.
Also think Ant's play and overall reads out of pick and roll this year have taken a step back, where he's been way more methodical with his approach, which may work for other less athletic players, as well as for Edwards himself in spots. But once he turns the corner and sees daylight, he should be blasting into that open space with no hesitation. Look at this play. Ant's going to turn the corner off the screen to his right, and from here he's just got this drop big in front of him, plus a shooter spotting up in the corner. From this spot, Ant easily has the burst to blow right past his drop big, which would lead to either a finish at the rim, or that would pull SGA towards the paint, leading to an open corner 3. But he instead pulls the ball out, which allows OKC to get matched up, which turns this whole play into a wash. We can see a similar thing here, where Edwards first comes off the screen to his right, then snakes it back towards the middle, and with all this open space to his left, plus Naz Reid spotting up in the weak side corner, Ant should be turning on the jets and getting into the paint. But that slight hezzy allows Boston to send an extra man towards the ball, which leads to a rush shot in traffic.
Oh, come on.
Let me respawn in Rome, please. Yes. I've got only 3 people here. Oh.
In isolation, Ant's also added a bunch of fat to his game, where instead of initiating simple clean blow-bys on the perimeter, he's now over-dribbling and putting together a bunch of combinations, with the clear intent to separate back behind the line. We'll see him here get the switch against Sam Hauser, who steps out and meets Edwards on the perimeter. Again, I think this should be an easy blow-by for him, but he puts together a combination with the intent to again separate back out for a pull-up. And this mismatch with the Timberwolves turns into nothing. And while I do think it's good for Edwards to use that handle in spots, I think he still does his best work with simple and effective moves. He's being...
How old's Ant? How old is Edwards? How old is Anthony Edwards? BREF. 23, 24. Anthony Edwards is where's his age? 23 years old. He's going to turn 24 in the summer. And the reason why I wanted to come to this is just a lot of the things that are being highlighted here are decision-making things that I genuinely believe Anthony Edwards is going to do a lot better on as we progress. But still, they're still worth highlighting because these are things that he can clean up now, and by the time the playoffs come, he's going to have more options because people are going to be able to scheme against him, and he needs to be able to counter what teams scheme up against him. But at the same time, again, is that fact that they don't have Cat anymore. They got DiVincenzo, they've got Julius Randle, fair enough, but those guys are not on the same level that Cat was at, especially the depth of performances that Cat was putting up on the playoffs. So Anthony Edwards needs to be very, very comfortable with being the main man, and I didn't really like to see him complaining about the double team attention he was commanding now, because that's what he's gonna get when you're one of the best players in the NBA. When you go out to Paris and you perform the way he performed, you're gonna get a lot more of that attention. But at the same time, we're talking about all this stuff. Edwards is still averaging 25 points per game. You know, he's still 25 points per game. He's still averaging 40% from free with some of the highest volume in the NBA. Field goal percentage could be a lot better, but free throw at 83%. Like, Ant is still nice. Like, let's not act like Ant transformed into some bum all of a sudden. He's still nice, but again, not having that running mate with him is definitely going to hurt. But yeah, we'll stop the NBA talk, guys, there. Again, more to react to very, very soon with that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's very good, actually. More NBA talk to react to very soon. Alright, let me know in the comments. Fred, is there, you said Ant and someone else. Is there anything else you want to react to or talk about? That'll be video. Let me leave a like. You can also just sit here and chill for a bit if you guys want. I think we'll stop it there, guys. I appreciate you watching the video to the end. Thank you very much, Frederick. I appreciate you as per usual, my guy. Guys, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share. We'll be back on Sunday. I've got work. Actually, I might be back Saturday because I come back from work quite early. I come back from work at 6. Tomorrow's going to be quite hard because I finish late, or I should be finishing late. We'll see what happens to that. So yeah, definitely a stream on Sunday, maybe one tomorrow and Saturday. We'll see. I appreciate you as per usual, guys. The stream's going to end now. More videos out tomorrow. I appreciate the support on the Coverage Kelly video. And that's per usual.